What are some signs you should quit your job? Depression, sleep issues, chest tightness, boredom. I speak from experience. I just put my 2 weeks in for a job that was causing me this. Feels good, man. Started with anxiety, couldn't eat, depression. Within the first hour of being there I was fed up and wanted to walk out. I was underappreciated, saw no future with the company, and was tired of the workplace environment. It went downhill after my yearly review, with me only getting about a $1,300 raise after I increased profits over 50%, and we have been hitting record sales each month. This directly affected my relationships with the customer. This went on for a few months and I finally had enough and start my new job next week. My advice: work for a company that is willing to work for you. When death starts appearing as a viable alternative. It was not a good job for me. I feel that way sometimes. Like, not so much that I want to die, but if I suddenly stopped living it wouldn't be that much of an inconvenience. And then I start thinking things like, well, my so could pay off the mortgage with the money she'd get from my death in service money, so that'd be nice for her. Then maybe she could find someone better. Or the number of times it looks like it was be so easy to just turn my car wheel slightly into oncoming traffic, but then that would mess up someone else's day as well, which isn't cool. Every day feels like Monday. You will go home early or call out at the slightest opportunity. Getting out of bed and going into work feel like monumental tasks. You frequently fantasize about telling off your boss and or co-workers, and walking out and never coming back. The only things keeping you from quitting are the bills rent student loans mortgage your family etc. You're not comparing your job against a better job, in other words, but rather against unemployment starvation etc. You are doing this job to please other people more than for yourself. You do your best to stay out of petty office drama, but somehow you always find yourself getting roped into it anyway. The stress associated with your work is taking a toll on your physical and or mental health. There are hints and signs that the company you work for might be going under or planning a massive layoff anyway. You don't enjoy being around your co-workers at all, and they don't enjoy being around you. Your higher UPS obviously don't value the work you do. You dread going into work every day. You can't do anything on your days off, because you just know you'll be called in to take care of this thing, or fill in for that person. So you have no work-life balance. You find yourself looking for new jobs on company time. You feel out of place, bored, and just generally unhappy with what you're doing. The company you work for is just bad at what they do, and you're always getting blamed, either by customers clients, or by your higher UPS or both, for UPS that clearly aren't your fault. You've stopped taking pride in your work performance. It's now just something you do to get it done. And you don't care if it's half-assed. When doing some course of your responsibilities causes you to have panic attacks. Feeling so uncomfortable and out of place, on your drive home and lunch break I just wanted to cry, every day. When your co-workers don't do their job, making you unable to do your job. And no matter how many times you've reported it to your boss, nothing is done. And every person who was there before these co-workers showed up quit because of this exact reason. Just jump ship and let them all sink. When you enjoyed rehab because your boss wasn't there. When you can't really be happy at work and dread going into work, it's time to look elsewhere. When you wish for a serious illness to give you an excuse to stay home. When genuinely small unimportant things become massive seemingly insurmountable issues and annoy you. When you're at the bottom of the social ladder emo. There shouldn't be one, but when it's clear that there is and it's you, then leave and don't look back. For me it was always when work began to take over my dreams. Looking for any excuse to go off on your boss and walk out. Also, fantasizing about telling your boss and place of work to fuck off and walking out. When you're unhappy. If you're unhappy, everything is a better alternative. Unless the alternative is going to make you even more unhappy. When you are counting the days until you are off. When you consider calling in on a daily basis. When you have to make yourself go to work. When your boss and those you work with never have a good word to say about your work, only a steady, relentless diet of negativity. When you feel demeaned, it's time to leave, quickly. Groundhog Day effect, where every day seems almost too much like the day before over and over again. That's a pretty good sign you're not getting challenged enough. If you had to do this every day until the day you died, would you rather live a shorter life or a longer one? Not just work, but life in general. I can trigger a panic attack, at will, by thinking long and hard about how much life is potentially still ahead of me. When you post on Reddit looking for an excuse to quit your job. When 50 Shades of Grey is what you see every morning when you look in the mirror and your face is so wrinkled it makes Yoda's skin seem taut in comparison. And did I mention you're only 37? When the CEO of the organization doesn't allocate enough money for your salary and tells your boss to find the money in her departmental budget if she wants to keep you on through the year. It made me feel really valued. Number 1, if they don't see paying you as a priority, it is time to go. Number 2, if they are having large enough financial problems that your pay comes into question, it is time to go. When 10 people have quit in 9 months and they continue business as usual. I used to work at home as a message board moderator, basically babysitting grown-ass women who should know better. The members of the community were asses, my boss was awful, the job super stressed me out and just made me miserable. So one day I'm working when pest control stops by my house, he asks how I'm doing and I burst into tears, ended up sobbing there for 5 minutes while he awkwardly tried to console me. I'm not a crier, nothing generally upsets me that much, and when I do cry I do it alone. Me breaking down in front of someone I didn't know very well and sobbing like that was all I needed to turn in my 2 weeks' notice. I couldn't do that job anymore. You dread every morning your boss comes up to you. Your co-workers are quitting. As you're walking there you think, maybe if I'm lucky I'll get hit by a car. I've been lucky enough to get out of a few companies before things got really bad and I've noticed some common threads in the situations. Explosive growth, this is fun and exciting and everyone is thinking they're going to be rich soon. The truth is that no company can sustain 50 to 60% growth forever, and when it inevitably drops the management is going to blame the workforce. This means stricter rules and less raises. Top heavy, this happens a lot when the explosive growth slows down. Management hires more management to help get things moving again. Of course these guys get paid a lot more, so they're a drain on the company, and more often than not they're there to weed out anyone not giving 100%. Pretty soon you have more managers than people to do the work, and when you fuck up you'll have 6 different people to tell you about it. It's toxic, hurts morale, and is a sign of more cuts and more work. After all, gotta pay that management. New rules. When companies aren't doing so well you start noticing all kinds of rules. Suddenly it's a big deal if you're 5 minutes late, or that you need a day off. They're cracking down on inefficiency, which generally means misery for you. Disappearing co-workers. When people start leaving or getting fired and not getting replaced, it means they're trying to squeeze more work out of everyone else without having to spend more. If 1 or 2 people leave it's not a big deal, but when your department is halved with the same amount of work to do it's time to bail. Anything that fucks with your check. If your boss ever asks you to hold your check for any amount of time you should be writing your resume that night. You're not working for shoots and giggles, you're working to fund your life. Don't ever let a sap story or that company pride bullshit cloud that up. Honestly, the days of company loyalty are over. If something better comes along, take it and don't look back. Your company will not hesitate to drop you if they can benefit, and you should see it the same way. Don't get comfortable, always look forward to something better, and never feel like you owe a company more than doing a good job in return for a paycheck. From my psychology professor. If you've worked at your job long enough to the point where you feel nauseous or majorly depressed as you walk into the place, leave. 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 It's not worth it.